I'm going to talk about the 3 biggest mistakes that I see new agents make who come in who have really good first few weeks and then have a drop in a statistic. Okay, they call it the 9-day phenomena. It may not always take 90 days, but what happens is the basis of it is, hey, someone comes in and they have a really good few weeks and then something happens and then their statistic drops. Okay, first of all, you got to make sure that they're sold on the position. Again, maybe someone in their family or one of their clients told them that what they're doing isn't good, or the product they're selling isn't good, or the company they work for isn't good, or management isn't good, or something like that. So you want to make sure they're rehabilitated on being sold on it. Okay, but in terms of procedural and presentation points, right, or sales skill, what I see drop off, there's 3 things. Number 1, enthusiasm is can drop down. Now that can happen from a lack of resiliency, right? If they have a few tough presentations that they can't close, you can have that emotional drop. And it can also happen from, like I said before, if someone or something convinced them that what they're doing isn't fully ethical. So I see enthusiasm drop sometimes. That's pretty easy to rehabilitate. You gotta have a one-on-one with someone, because a drop in a statistic is usually not from, if someone's consistently working, it's not from a lack of compliance or them not wanting to do something. It's just a lack of understanding between you and that individual, because there may be something going on in their life that you don't know, that you can help talk to them about and help get them back feeling good and motivated and excited. Now, number 2 is people. So in a telesales presentation, face-to-face too, you have getting on common ground and building some sort of a relationship. But in telesales, it's very important to have that sort of a connection established with someone when you're making outbound calls and inbound calls, because you want to sell yourself to the client. So what we see happen a lot is agents start and then they follow the guidelines of the presentation, where as they're fact-finding, they're interjecting questions to help build a relationship, right? If we say, oh, who's your beneficiary going to be? Oh, tell me, and then that's for the application for the insurance. But then we shift to, oh, tell me a little bit about them. What does your daughter do for work? How many kids does your son have? Right? Where you start to learn about them, and then you start talking about things that are the most interesting to your client. So what happens is you'll have new agents, you may see this, you'll have new agents start, and then they will have a few good weeks, and then what happens is they may have a few presentations that took a long time because the person just wanted to chat, and they don't close the deal. So they may think in their head, oh, well, you know what, why did I spend all my time doing that? I'm just gonna cut to the chase, because they would have told me no anyway, whether I spent all that time talking to them or not. And the important thing to realize is that you're gonna follow the same process with everybody. You may say a little different things here and there, ask different questions, present a different product, but you're gonna wanna bring them across the same process. So when they start to skip steps in the presentation, or if you start to skip steps in that, it leads to you not getting as many sales. And it's the law of large numbers. It's like, hey, if this works, I'm gonna do this, and I'm not gonna close everybody. So you gotta realize that. You're not gonna close everybody. So if you learn a process that works, make sure to not skip steps, okay? Because that's a huge part of what I see when you see a drop statistic is steps are being skipped in the sales process. And then number 3 is not establishing the dominant buying motive as much. So what I mean by that is, someone will start and they'll have some really good questions that they're asking the client about what they need insurance for, what it's going to do for them, what it's going to do for their family, what problem it's going to solve, why are they getting it now, what's the most dangerous thing that could happen from you not getting a policy, what would happen if you never end up getting insurance, right? What would happen if you pass away yesterday and you don't have insurance or have enough, right? What's the worst thing that could happen if you wait 20 more years and funerals are double in price, and then you got to pay double the rate because you waited too long? Not only is your liability going to be more, you're going to end up paying 3 times the rate if you wait, because you're going to have to get more insurance, and it's going to cost you more money because you're older. So just digging in on those questions really is what I'm saying, is people will start to skip that and just ask some basic questions like, what's this going to cover, right? What's this problem? What problem is this going to solve? But not really digging into the pain point that problem is going to present. Okay, so it's really focusing in on the problem and establishing that with the client. So I've found agents will start to skip over that, thinking, oh, well, I asked that other person a bunch of those questions, A couple people I asked those questions, they didn't end up buying from me, and I feel like they wasted my time. So now I'm just gonna skip it and ask some more basic questions and not follow the presentation. So those are the three biggest things. One is people are no longer sold on themselves, the product, or the management. Number two, they stop establishing common ground and trying to build a relationship with the client. They make it way too transactional. And then three is they stop asking questions that really dig in on why the person needs the insurance, because people will buy an inferior product to solve a big problem. That's why we run into people who are perfectly healthy but buy a guaranteed acceptance policy. It's because they're like, I got this problem and I want to find a solution for it. May not be the best thing, but you know what? It's better than me having nothing. So those are the three things that you want to watch out for in any agents you train or in your own sales to see if you ever have a dip in a statistic, if that's the reason for it.